What is going on, everybody? It is Ian, Dog Chow, and Fewart here, back with you on the WEHL Sportscast, episode 7. Ian, you want to go ahead and kind of introduce yourself again? I know everybody knows you.
Um, hey guys, this is Dog Chow here, and welcome to the show. It's been a while since we've actually done like a weekly sportscast. Since the playoffs have been crazy, insane with all the live commentary and stuff. But today, we'll be looking forward to bringing this content to you.
Yeah, as you guys can see on the screen right now in your bottom right hand corner, uh, there's some text scrolling. That is just the most recent subscriber to the channel, so I figured you guys might want to know who's most recent. And up in the left hand corner is our sub goal. Our sub goal is 150, and everybody knows at 150 subscriptions, then we are going to give away a $25 gift card to. All right, so as you guys are looking at them now. Uh, I'm like moving it. I don't want to move it. All right. All right, so that's just gonna be off of there. All right, so what you guys are seeing now is kind of our. This is our group of guys that run the media, and I know a lot of you guys have kind of watched, or if you have or haven't watched, uh, with all of the uh, with all of the stuff going on this past couple of weeks. We brought on a couple more bodies, a couple of new guys to help us with everything. So as you see on the screen, you've got Midnight Fapper, who we will be bringing him in shortly. He is our head of social media, which is nice now that we have a guy that can actually do social media. Uh, and then we've got White Knucklers, who next season will be doing some of the write-ups and content for the league. Ian, I don't. Are you on the? Like, can you see everything? I mean, if not, I can just go ahead and read through everybody. Okay. And then White Knuckler. Next to White Knucklers, you've got Best There Is. I don't know if many of you guys know. That's Keith. That's Keith and everybody. Uh, yeah, one of the commissioners. I can turn up the volume a little bit. How is that? Is that better? Dick Navis. I know you're watching. Uh, and then next to Keith, we have Lucky Pucker. Lucky Pucker. I don't know if he's going to be joining us here in a little bit. If he is, obviously you guys will know. But he is kind of the media's league source, as we kind of call him. He's kind of the guy that can get us the dirty details on a lot of stuff, and I know that it's not always something that you want, I guess, but at the same time, we need content, and he's gonna help us. Then the next two are me and Ian, as you guys can see. And then the last and not least, Doc Marshmallow, who, as many of you guys know, Doc is going to be commissioner in season 2 of the WEHL, which will be nice. Oh, and not that Keith didn't do anything, or anything like that. It's just, sometimes a change of face, and everything can kind of be, can kind of be a little different Alrighty. Any? Go ahead. Oh yeah, T-Sibs. Yeah, I could. Liter- he created this entire the entire thing you guys see on your screen right now. T-Sibs made, and I totally forgot about it. I just happened to steal his picture. Yes, all T-Sibs has helped us immensely with everything. So yes, sorry T-Sibs. For any of you guys watching, there is a application to fill out for next season's media. It's not really an application. It's more of you can kind of go into the Discord and you kind of can tell, you'll be able to see it obviously, but it's one of those things where you click on the link, you'll see what we need, and if you fit in any of those, then then give us a holler. Let us know if you guys have interest in doing media. Obviously, the more the better. So we will switch over. This is all of our social media. You guys can find us on. You guys can find us on all of the different platforms. As you guys know, here WEHL Sportscast, and uh, okay. As you guys know, the WEHL Sportscast is the official YouTube of the league. Obviously, WEHL Official is our Twitter and Instagram handles. And check us out on Facebook at World E Hockey League. Something that I know a lot of you guys have been wondering is how to sign up for Season 2. Well, I am about to show you guys exactly where to go for Season 2. So this right here, as you guys see on the screen, is the website. Right here, I just highlighted it. It says World Esports Season 2 Summer Registration. Yes, this is the summer season. Yes, it may not be the greatest because it's in the summer, but signing up is supporting the league. And as long as you guys are active in the league, we shouldn't have a problem. I think the summer season is by far the most important season out of everyone. Because, to be honest, really, the summer season is where some leagues kind of fall apart. Because the summer seasons aren't where teams strive and aren't where guys are committed. So if you're committed and you want to play the summer season, it's all the information is right here on the website. You just go through here, you hit submit, and it will send you a link in your email to the Discord server. Now, if many of you guys watching, obviously you guys have Discord, you guys have heard about us through Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, somewhere along those lines. So yeah, that's it's a good thing to have. But yes, obviously there's more information here on the website. You can all of our social media, our live broadcast from the Stanley Cup Finals is here. And if you guys click this link right here, I believe, yep, there it goes. It will take you, yep, there it goes. Right to, it will take you, yep, the YouTube. Right to, it will take right you, there. Yep, the YouTube. Right, it will take right there. Yep, the YouTube. Right, it will take right there. Yep, the YouTube. Right, it will take right there. Yep, the YouTube. So it will take right there. Yep, the right to our live broadcast and everything. And joining us now, as you guys may have heard us talk about the Stanley Cup Finals, if you guys haven't watched it, is the owner of Montreal, who we have sat down with before, talked about, but as many of you guys know, the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup this season in season 1. Jordan, how are you, my man? Oh, no problem, man. So, I know we kind of talked after your guys' win. Was there, what's gone on in the past week? Well, a little less than a week now. But what's kind of going on with the team, man? Like, are you starting to rebuild, or I mean, obviously, as an owner, you kind of got to look and see who wants to stay and who doesn't. It should be. What the fuck? Oh, maybe not. Hold on. Video output. Add existing. Alright, what about now? Say something. Oh, God. Jordan.
Hold on.
Alright, say something now.
Yeah, no audio was coming through. I don't know if it is now, but if it is, people will be hearing it. 'Cause,
Oh my goodness.
I don't understand.
My thing was not. Yeah.
No, it's
No.
on my end. I know it is.
yeah, audio's coming through now. I heard it in the
Yeah, now it is.
In the video. I heard it, so it should be good now.
Okay, so apparently when I just go to the screen, it's only me. Then hold on, let me. What is this one? Alright, say something now.
Hello, it is Midnight Fapper, the owner of the Montreal Canadiens, joining Pure Live.
Maybe? Yeah. Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Oh, I can check, sorry.
Sorry, Pepper.
Yeah, we're good. That went through.
Alright, cool. So,
Sorry about that. I noticed that when I was checking it out earlier.
yeah, it's weird. I'm gonna have to go through and fix all of that. Because I think it's my video capture device I have to add to every single one. Alright, yeah, right.
Fun.
Which, actually I can do this right now. So, go ahead and kind of fill us in, on kind of what's kind of been going on throughout the past weekend with the guys and everything, and I guess kind of tell us everything that's kind of been either resting on the team, because obviously you guys have to go in and defend the championship now.
Yeah, I let my guys kind of enjoy the victory for a little bit, and then, there's a pretty quick turnaround of having to get down to business because, we were us and the Blues were the last two teams remaining, and the other teams had a couple weeks to prepare for, prepare a little bit for next season and kind of, figure out what they're doing and figure out who they're returning and all that, and I only had like 4 days to really kind of figure that out because I was trying to keep that, I was trying to really not worry about that until after the playoffs because I didn't want to really get that to interfere with my team. So from there, it was tough, man, because you just got off that high of winning the cup. You have to cut your roster down from those 16, 17 guys down to 7. including me. So really have to cut it down to 6 guys. So it's tough. It's tough. You know, it was hard to be like sit there and tell some guys, hey, you just won a cup for me. Like, sorry, see you later. Like,
Yeah, that.
so we went ahead and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I
That's
was
rough.
gonna say that's probably gonna be the roughest part of it all, you know, because I mean, obviously you're gonna have I don't know if you had talked about it, but I think you said that you had a couple guys that were there from day one, you know, and does that did that
Yeah.
kind of take factor in you know, who stayed and who didn't, or was it kind of like, okay, well, this is the decisions I'm making, and you know, we just kind of got to deal with it.
You know, I try to. I mean, I'm still kind of new to this whole owner thing. You know, I kind of got lucky. My first team that I owned, I won a cup. But, you know, and that's not gonna happen. I know that's not gonna happen all the time, and you know, there's gonna be down seasons and stuff. But I'm just trying to put my team in the best position to, perform well each season. And like it's, you know, we all got to understand at some point that you're just I'm not doing it personally. It's no personal attacks on anybody or no, like, you know, there's no like, oh, you're a bad hockey player, like, see you later. Like each guy brought their own thing to the team that helped us win that cup, but I didn't necessarily bring back the best guys. There's a couple of guys that I left off that 7 that you'd probably be surprised that I did. I brought back what I felt like was going to be the best for our drafting moving forward. That would fit the best for like our draft plan and fit the best for have like a good core of guys that would help, you know, that we could build around. I wasn't just going to sit there and bring back the best guys. I was going to bring back the best core of guys that fit our plan moving forward.
But, and I mean, really, I mean, I think that's that was a big thing. I think that it was huge to be able to bring back, you know, what you thought would be the best guys going forward. You know, I mean, as you said, you didn't bring back the best of the best. You brought back going forward. So going forward, what are your plans looking like going into the draft?
You know, scouting's interesting. It's been going really interesting. There's, you know, there's guys that are really enthusiastic about it that you meet, and then there's guys that just don't really give a crap. And it's tough because, you know, you want to give everybody a chance. You want to see as many people as you can. But at the same time, with this whole interesting aspect of like the new teams getting 7 players that weren't protected, and then, you know, whoever they want to bring in or whatever, it's an interesting situation because you want to try guys out, but at the same time you know, like you're not really trying guys out for the same reason as these other teams are, and if that makes sense. Like, so you gotta make it clear to the guys that are trying out, be like, hey, look, I'm not trying you out for a roster spot. I'm trying you out for like the draft. Like, I'm trying to get a look to see what you look like for a hard draft.
Right.
So a lot of guys don't really like that. They're kind of like, oh, well, I'm here for a roster spot. And it's like, well, I already have my 7 from my team last year. Like, there's not really much I can do about that. And they don't really, I think they don't really understand that to the fullest, that like the teams that are returning guys are keeping their like only have guys that they can keep from their roster. They can't pick from everybody like some of the new
Right.
guys.
So, Ian, you got anything? Because I know, obviously, the questions and everything else coming out.
I think you said it all there, Fear. Like, what's the preparation for the draft and all that? I think that's one of the questions that I was gonna ask, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest preparation is you gotta kind of see what for each team out there. You gotta kind of see what your 7 guys are that you have with you, and then you kind of gotta build. Like, I feel like it's gonna be interesting because I'm assuming, I don't really know how the whole draft is gonna work, but I'm assuming I'm gonna get the 32nd pick in the draft, which is gonna be horrific, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm assuming, you know, it's gonna go 30. I'm gonna get 32nd, and then Yeah, right. 30-second, then 30-second, right? Like each round. I'm assuming that's how it's gonna
Yeah,
go.
it's probably gonna be a snake format, or you pick 30-second, you get 30-second, then you won't pick till like the third or fourth round until less. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I would go 30-second, then
Yeah.
first, and then it'd be like six.
Yeah.
It'd be like 60 something picks till I get the next pick.
Which
Exciting. Exciting.
yeah, but
Yeah.
obviously, obviously it will, it's gonna make you kind of think, like, okay,
Oh, 100%.
where do I?
I'm gonna have to really try to find those gems.
Oh yeah, gems are the biggest thing. Everybody wants, to be the all-star, but there are guys out there. I played with a couple already that are, they don't want to be the all-star of the team. They'd rather pass the puck than shoot it. And, going forward, what is something that you're looking at for player-wise? Like, what is something that you're really trying to get guys to realize?
I think moving forward, player wise, it's gonna be interesting because I feel like I'm gonna have to get a feel for the draft and like see what's happening during the draft, like who's going, like when, and like who, like what player, when is the draft, like when are guys drafting goalies, like all that. It's gonna be interesting because I feel like I'm gonna have to get a feel for that to really understand like what my draft plan moving forward is gonna be. But it's you're really just looking for guys with a good attitude and guys that are just gonna come and play and like actually like put effort into the team, really. And then obviously skills a big part of it too.
So obviously you're a goalie. A little insight here, did you protect another goalie, or are you just kind of a one-man goalie show right now until you find another one?
No, see, interesting enough, I protected our two goalies. We had a third goalie. He was there a little bit, but I didn't feel like it would be a smart idea to bring 3 goalies back. I was on the fence about bringing 2 goalies back, to be honest with you, but I didn't want to take that risk of losing that goalie core because I feel like it's gonna stay the best goalie core, or one of the best goalie cores in the league. And I didn't want to lose that because I'm a big fan, as you saw with us winning the cup. I'm a big fan of building from the goalie out, and I kept 2 goalies, so I'm not really too worried in that sense of finding a goalie. So I can really start to try and find other roles, other players that'll fit other roles. I kept two goalies, 2 D-men, and then 3 forwards. So I tried to at least get like a full line of guys that I know I could build around.
Okay.
I feel good with who I kept and who I have with me moving forward, and I think we'll definitely be able to build something out of it.
I know that you've talked about it, and I know that I've heard owners talk about their strategy on, a couple owners have told me, well, if I get 10 forwards, 4 D-men, and 3 goalies, and 2 versatile players, do you have any, I guess, how do I say it? Do you have any preference on, how you want your lineup when you're protecting or drafting guys? Do you want maybe 8 forwards, 6 D-men, or, something along those lines? Or is it just kind of, all right, well, you play this position, so I need a couple of those, so you're good, and you were here last season, and I like you, so I'm going to protect you? Or, is there more that goes into it?
You're talking about for protecting guys from my roster?
Just, truthfully, just in general.
Like, for like building a roster? Is that what you're saying? Sorry,
I
kind of...
Yeah, building a roster.
Okay. I made the mistake last season, and we survived through it because my defense was very good with their availability, but we were very, very thin on the defensive side. Now, don't get me wrong, the 3 defensive pairings we had were great. They were great. They could all play with each other. It was anything I could ask for. But beyond that, we were screwed. If it were to happen where, you know, certain guys couldn't show up for certain times, and I had to really flip guys around, it was very like kind of shaky. Where I had to actually play during the season. I had to play my center down South Killa, which is, you know, guy at the game-winning goal in Game 6.
Yes, everybody knows.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Great center. I actually played him during the season. I played him on right D more than I played him at the center.
Oh wow.
Because I was just having an issue getting guys to be able to fill the whole week. So, you know, and he's a great versatile player. He can play, you know, goalie, right D, center, right wing. Yeah, a great versatile player, great player to have. But I'm definitely gonna make sure I have a really well balanced group like this year, and, you know, I'm gonna make sure that I have guys that are dedicated to making 4 or 5 games a week.
Okay,
you know?
So obviously, you know, you guys won the cup. You know, and that was kind of a big thing. You know, do some of those guys that you released, you know, like, do they still, you know, I would hope that, you know, they still brag about it. You know, obviously everybody wants to win a cup at least once. You know, but do some of those guys that, you know, you, even if you didn't protect them, you know, do you still keep in contact with them at least?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, we're a group. I mean, after the season, I mean, we're just like a group of guys that we'll just always kind of be playing together, always be talking to, and always be hanging out with. We kind of had an interesting dynamic where I tried to bring in guys that were familiar with each other. So a lot of the guys were familiar with at least 1 or 2 guys on the team. There's a few guys that didn't know anybody. And then there was a few guys that, like, didn't know certain guys but knew other guys. But just as the season went along, we kind of all just, you know, because we all kind of knew somebody there, it really helped that team chemistry kind of build up, and everybody was really enthusiastic to play by the end of the season, because they were all like, man, like, I'm just going out there and having fun with my boys, you know, like, it's pretty much all you could ask for, and they were all, you know, all excited for it, and I mean, it worked out. So that group of guys will definitely always be playing together and stay in contact and stuff.
Right. So obviously we talked before you got in here that you are our head of social media and everything. What are some things that guys could see, you know, next season with social media and everything? You know, kind of keep an eye out, or, you know, do you have something up your sleeve that you're wanting to do, and, you know, we just haven't talked about it yet?
You know, moving forward, I'm definitely gonna start doing a lot more like weekly highlights and stuff. But, you know, it was tougher to do with the whole Stanley Cup and me kind of dealing with my team through that process and stuff. And I was still trying to get a feel really for like how to kind of do things efficiently. And I'll continue to play with it and work with it through the off season before we get into this next season coming up here. But I hope we get, like, you know, a group of guys together that'll be able to collect some highlights throughout the week, and we'll do some like weekly top 10s, weekly top 5s or something.
Oh yeah.
You know, like a play of the week, you know, where like we'll have like the community vote on like the top play of the week, and then we'll like reward it to some guy and make it, you know, look nice and pretty, and post it on the page.
Right.
You know, because it's all about making things look nice and pretty, you know, nice and presentable.
Oh,
yeah. That always gets the attention. But yeah, you know, we'll definitely, I'm gonna do a lot to keep the community involved. I'm gonna try and start doing like some like interesting like little like questions of the week or polls of the week for like on Twitter and stuff. We'll do a lot of stuff to really keep the league involved, and then we'll continue the tweeting out and posting stuff on information about the league and scores, and we'll continue to keep doing all that just so that we keep the community of, you know, the WEHL community and people from the outside that are following us as well involved in what's going on.
Yeah, you know, you say the community, and I guess I heard today was the WGC for NHL, the World Gaming Championship for NHL 19. And funny fact, I was reading on, I was scrolling through Instagram earlier today, and somebody I happen to follow posted that I guess NHL 19 and the World Gaming Championship had more viewers on it than Ninja playing Fortnite did for the first time. So, I mean, obviously everybody knows the whole Fortnite craze, and everybody has been there, played the game at least once, and if you haven't, you're lying because everybody knows you have. And, you know, so what does that say for not only the NHL community, but the NHL gaming community?
You know, I think moving forward, we can all agree that, you know, hockey's a growing sport. It really is. It's gaining a lot of popularity throughout, you know, the nation, throughout the states, especially. It's always been big in Canada. It's going to continue to be big there. And I really think that that's starting to open up, you know, because you got things like that NBA 2K League stuff that, like, is really big. That, you know, guys sit there and they have, like, drafts and stuff that are, like, you know, on podcasts or videos or whatever. And I really think there's a lot of room to grow with this NHL stuff. And I definitely think, you know, if the right steps are taken, this WEHL league can for sure get up there and really rise quickly if we kind of capitalize on some of the opportunities that we could take out there. And it'll be fun to watch this league grow, and I really think this league has some amazing potential that not many leagues get the chance to have.
Yeah, you know, I've talked about it multiple times about how I feel that, you know, sometimes the NHL community, obviously guys shit on each other, but it's just kind of what we do. I mean, NHL is a game of it is a game of chirping, like, you know. And I think that once we all can figure that out, and not everybody takes it to heart, you know, I think that the community, along with the popularity, and maybe if EA puts out a game that's actually worth the shit in the next 3 years, that
pretty much.
That would always help. That would always help.
You know, that maybe you know, maybe the community can grow, and, you know, just, like, how do I say this? Maybe the community can come together. You know what I mean? Instead of, you know, well, you have your LG guys, and then you have your Facebook guys, or you have your World E guys. You know what I mean? Like, just because. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, well, I was just gonna say, you know, it's interesting that you said that, because I actually probably, like, oh man, I would say a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, I was talking with one of my buddies, and I was saying, you know, if you really think about it, these leagues, especially these bigger leagues like LG, it's a huge community of guys. VG is a big community of guys, and they all kind of blend in. But there's guys that play, you know, certain leagues that don't play in other leagues. But if we all really we kind of, if you really think about it, we kind of control the fate of NHL, you know, the NHL franchise moving forward, because we really are like the backbone to the you know, to it, basically. I mean, there's guys that play, you know, there's guys that play, you know, sorry, one second.
You know, you have guys, well, obviously you have everybody that plays.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, nah, just somebody.
No, you're fine.
You know, you have your guys that play Hut, which is obviously the EA calls it their money making area. But if EA really wanted to take advantage of the growing community that we have in this EA SHL, they really could. And I really think the community that we have right here of like LG, VG, WHL, all the other leagues, Facebook League. You know, if we really wanted to, we could, you know, yeah, you know.
We could all. No,
If you wanna call that a league, we can call it a league.
Well,
yeah,
until
yeah.
That's kind of
Sort
more
of a league. It's like, yeah,
We'll
it's
you know we'll mention it, but you know we'll kind of
until
say that league's about 6.
yeah, until it completely is buried, then we'll still call it a league. But
Well, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's still
It's-
talked
it's
about enough
functionable
where,
right
you know,
now.
It's one of the
So,
leagues.
but
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
more functional than a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of these leagues. But if you really think about it, man, if we came together as a kind of a community, we really could kind of make some things, you know, play out in the way that we would want them to. I mean, which we could, you know.
oh god, yeah.
And I'm not saying, you know, we could sit there and tell EA what to do, but you know, if they hear from us, you know, they'll actually kind of hear from us.
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously, many of you guys that are watching, if you guys watched the past broadcast, I said there at some point in the broadcast that I got an email from EA. You know, you get the yearly email if they want your feedback, and truthfully, I flat out said, I was like, you do not want my feedback, because I will flat out say that everybody hated 18. Everybody wanted to get out of 17 because 18 was going to be better. Everybody said 18 was by far the worst game they made because it was a copy and paste. NHL 19, they made improvements. Don't get me wrong. They made the improvements that should have been made in the skating.
Oh, it was a big jump.
In the
Big
skating
jump.
and
Right.
everything. But I think that NHL 19 was by far one of the worst NHL games that have came out. Only for the pure fact that when we started NHL 19, we didn't have private matchmaking, which should have been a release date thing. We did, and then for 2 months, I think, everybody had the dressing room error, which should have been a copy and paste thing. You know, I get that they went back to their own servers, which is good, you know, but I'm hoping that NHL 19, with a little bit of leaked information that says that a possible Frostbite engine can be better. Only for or NHL 20, sorry, yeah. I just think that if NHL 20 can come out and be a better game and just a better style, you won't have all of these separate leagues and all of these separate communities of guys. I think that the Xbox side will form one community, and I think the PlayStation side will form one community. And going back to the Fortnite craze that we had talked about, they have cross-platform. Obviously, there's an agreement there between Sony and Microsoft. Why not EA?
Well, there has to be.
Exactly. So why not EA kind of try to step foot into that and say, hey, look, we've got Battlefield, FIFA, NHL, and every other EA game that they make. Why not I don't want to say step into it completely, but dabble in the waters is, I guess, what I'm looking for. Is dabble into it.
Oh, sorry.
Like, dabble into the waters of it and kind of try it out. You know, for the first 2 months that NHL 20 comes out, you have cross-platform. If it doesn't work out, then okay. But if it does, you've got a huge community now at that point.
Yeah, and you know, I've kind of thought about this, and you know, if EA is really so worried about making money through this game because it's, you know, one of their lower, you know, money making games, why don't they follow the 2K, like, you know, NBA version style of creating a player and building his attributes through playing,
Oh yes.
through like, and then if they're so worried about
career mode.
microtransactions, exactly. If they're so worried about microtransactions, think about it. So if EA follows that something to that point of like a create your player, it gives the community a wider range of building your character the way you want to play with your buddies,
and along,
so you can build the player you want, and they make money because people will buy upgrades, will buy things, and then there's no fight from anybody, and they'll actually be dedicated to make that game because they make more money, and players will like it because it gives them more customization to be able to build the character that they want exactly the way
exactly. Okay, so personal experience. I have 2K19, NBA 2K19. Granted, I'm not the greatest at it, so I wasn't the greatest, and I bought it when it was on sale at like late in the basketball season. So at that point, I'm already 30 steps behind everybody that's been playing it all year. My guy he starts off at like a 60 overall, so he's not that good. So, what was my first? What is anybody's first instinct? Got it.
they want to level their
Microcurrency. Okay, I get everybody may hate it because it's microcurrency. You can just pay to do it, but 2K, they implemented a very, very, very good thing that I think that if EA could kind of take after it, they put in a game breaker where you actually have to play through the career mode to be able to level up your as your attributes grow, I guess you could say. So when you start out and you put $30 into it, you're not at 99 overall right off the bat. And I think if I think if EA can kind of how do I say it? If they can kind of mirror that type of product, I think that more guys and the community will grow. Dick Davis, we need practice.
100%.
Dick Davis said we need practice mode for squads. I completely agree because you know how many times we have had everybody on every team, whether you're that guy or you're not, has a CR freak on their team. You put practice mode in there for squads, 100%. You don't have to worry about that. You go in, you've got a goalie, and you've got your 5 skaters. Or, better yet, you've got 12 guys and you don't want to have to create a practice club. Go ahead. Go ahead and put 12 guys out there. You got 2 goalies, 6 skaters. 2 goalies and 10 skaters out there now. What do you
Yeah, or even if you're just trying to work on like a trapped version of something, or really just trying to get your team to get on the same page.
That was
just it makes sense.
Yeah, that was what Dick Davis just said. He said hard to teach formation without it. Exactly. A lot of these guys, you see these teams, and I noticed it in the playoffs. I've noticed it just playing as myself with some guys that I know. And I noticed that my team did it. It gets hard to set the puck up, because when you're in the zone, you're rushing, So when you teach a formation, you can teach your guys how to cycle the puck. The right winger comes up to the defensive spot, the right D cycles down, or the other way around, and without a true 100% practice mode, I think that the NHL community will get tired of it, and everybody will be on a rush style of play unless you truly have 5 guys that have a true 1,000% hockey IQ. You're just going to get teams that are going to rush the puck up the ice, lose it, get pissed off because they lost the puck, and then what? Then you got 5 guys that don't play the game anymore because they couldn't learn.
Well, and you know what? I really think it would help. You know how all these leagues, when they're in the off season, they do scouting for their leagues and try to get players together. I really think it would help these teams, these owners that are scouting, really put the guys in situations that they want to. Like, for example, I have my 7 guys that I'm protecting, but I could easily, take those guys that I have with me that want to, like run a game and put them against those guys and really just like try to like put these scouts in certain scenarios. But you can't always do that when you're matching up with random teams because you don't really know what you're getting.
Yeah, say I want my guys to be on a penalty kill. Like,
right.
You can put that as a situation or
that,
scenario.
or even
say you want a 5-on-3 or a 5-on-4 penalty kill.
Man, I will have to find the video, but I know he used to be big in the PlayStation or on the Xbox side of things, I guess you could say. But it was 2BC Productions. He did a video. He did a video years ago, and I mean like NHL, like 14 years, about some practice drills that you can actually do that in a practice mode that they had. So you have that practice mode, and you're working on not only your own skills, but you're working on how do I say it? You're working as a team to build and become stronger. Does that make sense?
100%.
So, I think that if EA did that, obviously they already had it there at one point because it was there for years, but they just took it away. So, okay, I get that. But bring it back. There's a lot of guys in the community that want a practice mode back. And, I get not everybody wants it. Not everybody, it's just a waste of time. You'll have too many teams in there for hours and become too good. Well, play with the same group of guys for 6 months and you're going to know where everybody's going to be without saying anything. Am I right, Fapper?
100%, man. It just brings a whole nother aspect to the game that, it just you don't have right now.
To be honest, and truthfully, it's another selling point, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, it tends to be a shame that because EA has no competition in this like kind of market in the sense of NHL. It just, EA really just puts out a piss poor effort of really just trying to bring new players into NHL. Because if you really think about it, the only people that play this game year after year is the same freaking people.
Exactly.
And eventually, that's not gonna be enough.
No.
Eventually, that's just not gonna be enough. And you pretty much, EA complains about this being a lower like money-making game, a lower-tier game.
But
they're doing it to themselves, though, because they're suffocating this franchise.
Exactly. To me, truthfully, I think that if EA doesn't change something fast, and within the next 3 years, I don't see another. I see 2K coming in and completely taking over EA, or in this aspect, because obviously they're FIFA and everything else is doing great. Which
FIFA's their moneymaker.
Yeah,
for sure.
FIFA's 100%. Also got them in some deep shit overseas too, but we will talk about that right now. But but no, I mean, if they don't do something within the next I wouldn't even say 3 years. I say within the next 2 years, the NHLPA is going to get tired of getting a game that they're not making money off of, because obviously every player in the game gets a check from their agent or however that works.
Their player their player likeness and their licensing.
Yeah, so obviously nobody's gonna want to be on the cover. So what are you gonna have? Just a big old NHL logo on the cover? I mean, think about it.
It'll
Pretty
turn out to be
much.
one of those games where like every player has a random like randomized name, and it's just a bunch of random like
Well,
people.
exactly. But see,
Like
Oh,
one of
like
those like
like college football and college basketball
exactly.
back
well,
then when EA made
Uh-huh.
college basketball and college
okay,
football.
talking about that.
Yep.
EA just released that they are now, the NCAA and EA are now back to working together because
Mm-hmm. I
they're
heard about
looking
that.
for a possible agreement for player likeliness to college players. So do
Yep.
something a little better for not only you, I guess not only not only your company, I should say, but for the guys that play it. Everybody crazed and everybody had a bitch fit when the NCAA series went out. I was one of them. I was
I was pretty triggered. Ain't
because
gonna lie.
truthfully, I thought the NCAA series. I like NFL. I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but at the same time, I enjoy college football more than I do the NFL, only for the fact that the NFL players they've already been drafted. They're already in the show. What do they have to play for? So you don't see many guys going out there at 100 miles an hour all the time. In college, you got your fourth string running back going into a hole at
Yeah.
1,000 miles an hour because what's he doing? He needs to make a name for himself, And I think,
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I think it really just comes down to, man, like it just it's really up to communities like us to really just keep this game alive at this point. And it's a shame to really have to say that, but if you really do think about that, it's just there's just such a lack of effort coming from the game developer
Then it makes it hard.
that
It
it makes it a pain in the ass, man.
for real.
I mean, it really does because we're literally, and like we know it, we all know it, and EA knows it, but we're literally just sitting here, lining up in a line every single year to buy a crap. I mean, we're going
Yeah.
we're going to the trash can and putting $60 to like giving $60 to a hobo and buying crap.
No, it
Pretty much what
literally
we're
is though.
There's another another more insane definition to describe that, but yeah.
Yeah,
I think Fear said that last
but
time. Or
well,
T-Sips.
and let's welcome
Oh, I remember
a
that,
lucky
yeah.
Pucker. Pucker, what is your intake on? Does EA need to change this shit, or how much longer can you take of it?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Pucker. Good time.
Hey, thanks guys, appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like we're in an abusive situation, and there's nothing else better out there. There's no other drunk and abusers that we can go to, so we just keep coming back to the same abusive,
Right.
lover that we've always known. And so yeah, that's my take
Yeah,
on it.
I mean,
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, we're in an interesting spot here because as an up and coming league with a good core of guys that are willing to really make this something big in the NHL community, I really think we're in an interesting spot here to where if we take the right steps and we keep moving forward, we could have some control over what happens in the NHL community. We really can, and it's going to be interesting moving forward to see what the community starts doing about what's happening.
Yeah, that's what it's going to have to take. It's going to have to affect EA's bottom line, and until it does, we won't see any changes. And it's a fine line between, impacting their bottom line and making it to where it's no longer beneficial for them to make the game. Because if we hurt their bottom line too much, then they just won't continue to make it. Versus what we want to do, which is, we want a good quality game to start being produced on a regular basis. We pay $60 a year for the same thing that's basically just being repackaged and rebranded as the exact same thing over and over again. It's like a 10-year cycle, and we release the same new
Yeah,
products every 10 years.
Yeah,
paying for a roster update.
Yeah, exactly.
Feared asked me this question earlier, and I'm interested, if you don't mind, Feared, I'm interested to see what
Go
Pucker
for
will
it.
say. But we were talking about how, because of the way EA is pumping out pretty much just crap each year to us, and if you really think about it, and what I was saying is, if you really look at the hockey community itself, the players that play each year are the same exact players. There's really not much of a significant change from the players. And I was saying, eventually, do you think that this game's just gonna die out because of the fact that EA doesn't really try to expand its boundaries and open up to new players?
I think it's a combination. I think there's lots of factors that play into that. NHL itself, the real NHL, if they can produce a better product, then it'll drive more fans to the game eventually, and create that new stuff. EA can definitely do some things to improve their product and potentially draw in some new customers. But it's kind of like on Twitch. If you ever watch Twitch and you go and look at how many people are watching Fortnite streams, there's millions of people watching Fortnite stream, and you go to the NHL and you look at every single one of them and you add them all up together, and we're talking about 250 people watching it. So that's a huge driving force, I'm sure.
Pure, what was that stat you had that was about the viewers? Yeah, because I don't think Pucker heard it. It's an interesting stat, actually.
Where was it?
It was talking about that whole Fortnite and NHL thing.
Okay, so the NHL holds. They had I think this was the first year for it, but it had it's actually called the GWC, which is the Gaming World Championship for NHL. They had it this year. Today, or last night on NHL, on Twitch, okay, there was 36.2 thousand viewers watching the European Live Regional Final, and there was 35.1. There was 35.1 thousand people watching Ninja play Fortnite. Like I said before, everybody's played Fortnite. Everybody has, and if you haven't, you know you're lying. So don't even try it. But at that point, when does EA have to realize that? Oh my God, there is some blue-haired fuck sitting in the middle of his living room playing Fortnite and has almost as many viewers as two guys in an entire production sitting in a room at an EA headquarters, and there's 1,000 viewer difference. When does EA finally say something? Because
I almost think if you really look at it, you could look at it one of two ways. Yes, that's kind of embarrassing because you don't want to lose to a blue-haired.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's some crazy things that happen, but you don't want a whole franchise to lose to just one single blue-haired fuck. That's kind of bad. But you could also look at it at the fact of, if you think about how big Fortnite became and how just recognized it was throughout just nationally. I'm talking about through all of gaming nationally. And you look at just the size of what NHL 19 is, and you look at how many viewers it was still able to grab, even though that is the GWCs, you still got to look at how many viewers it was still able to grab with the lack of national recognition, national kind of, the just the looks of the game and how recognized it was getting. You look at how many viewers it was still able to get. Couldn't you look at it and be like, hey, there might be some potential here. Like, we might have something here that we can grow on. But instead, they're going to sit there and focus on, FIFA this, FIFA that, Battlefield this, Battlefield that. And then they're just going to keep producing crap where something, could be made out of it.
Yeah, 100%, it just... I don't know, that's just me, though. I think that if EA really cared, and I'm not saying that there's not 3 or 4 guys in their entire development of the game that do care, but I'm saying that you've got a development team of 30 plus guys, and like we've said multiple times, 2K and their NBA, I watch guys on YouTube that have like gone to, some of these 2K events and have met with developers and have met with people. I don't think I've ever seen Nasher or TDI or anybody besides the House of Chell that they did, but that wasn't nationally recognized, you know. But Ninja gets a sponsorship from Red Bull, and oh, good God, like Fortnite is the craze because now you can buy his headband at a Walmart, like,
Yeah.
the,
I mean, I think just. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that the national recognition of the NHL, truthfully, to me, the national recognition of the NHL has gone downhill since, and I know this is just going to come out and sound like the big dummy defenseman that I play, but truthfully, I think the downfall of the NHL, along with some of the games, has been the fact that the enforcer isn't in the NHL anymore. That role has kind of been taken out of. Because if you think about it, the enforcer, the guy who fights, the guy who is an antagonist, yes, you have Brad Marchand, but God, I don't even want to consider him. You've got the enforcer, you've got all those guys, but at the same time, what else do you have? Because your top stars in Sidney Crosby, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, they're all getting older now. And you're relying on Connor McDavid, who plays on the Oilers, who has really... The Oilers haven't done much in the last couple of seasons, and then you've got Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner on the Toronto Maple Leafs, who, again, have made the playoffs but can't get any farther than that. It just... To me, I think... To me,
Yeah.
Truthfully, I really do think that the enforcer being out of the game has kind of killed the game, to the fact that it's not bringing in your casual fans anymore. Where, oh, you want to go see a hockey game? Well, yeah, there's fights during a hockey game. Cool, like, I'll go. But even that casual fan, they are going to spread word, whether it be by mouth, by social media now. That casual fan means everything to EA, the NHL, any sport in general, really.
Well, and I really think it's up to NHL and EA, because EA is the producer of their game. It's really up to them to, because I think they need to really recognize what it is for what it is, which is, you look at all these other games like soccer, the soccer games, the football games, even MLB The Show is a pretty decently big game. Definitely a lot bigger than NHL 19 is. All these games are definitely a lot bigger than NHL 19 is. But I don't really think, and I don't really think it's due to a lack of just interest in the sport. I really think it's just NHL and EA are failing to really hit that that advertising, that marketing point to just, like you said, the average player, the average person out there, but like some of these other games are, if you know what I mean.
Pucker, I know you've got it. I know you've got something.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, so some interesting stuff for you guys. So Fortnite has 125 million players playing their game. During the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, they're averaging about 3 million viewers. So that's kind of the fan base that the differences in fan base. You've got 125 million fans essentially that download the game and play it and are interested in watching other people play it, and then you've got a fan base of roughly about 3, probably 5 million people that are interested in watching the Stanley Cup. And that when you get to the championship, that's when you're going to draw the biggest crowd. So it's less than that for each team, as you go down the pike. And then that's part of why EA doesn't spend as much money on it. The fan base is just not as big, and I think Pepper, I think you hit it on the head. I think they've got to do a better job of advertising. That's what Fortnite did. They advertised the shit out of the game before it was released. Like, every other. I mean, it looked like the coolest game that's going to come out for the next 10 years. And then it came out, and it was like, oh, this zombie mode kind of sucks. This multiplayer is not too bad. And then they kept producing new content, and now it's the biggest, baddest thing on. And it's phenomenal what they've been able to do with it. So, yeah, I think EA's dropping the ball, but I also think it starts with the NHL. NHL's got to make this a more attractive sport to watch and draw more fans in, and I think it'll have a trickle down effect to EA.
Well,
EA's running a business.
Oh yeah,
you know, they got to make some money. So
and like I've said, that casual fan. Here in town, we have a local hockey team here. Okay, that was their biggest thing this season, being a expansion team in a new league. Granted, we already had a team, one of the most successful minor league hockey teams in minor league hockey history, but they went under a new name and went under a new league. So what did they do? For the first, probably for the first 3 months that, after they announced everything was huge. It was like I couldn't turn on my TV without seeing a commercial for their, for opening night, for this, for that, and for literally, so we play it's the league under the ECHL. So if that tells you anything on how far away these guys are from making it to the NHL,
right.
We almost sold out a 9,000 seat building because of advertising,
Oh yeah, advertising is so crucial. Absolutely.
But I also think, a lot of it comes down to, no matter what the size of the viewership is in the National Hockey League, you really got to look at it for the example. Like, I don't watch basketball worth of crap. I'm not a huge fan of basketball, but yet year after year I buy NBA 2K. Why? Because it's a very fun game. It's a well-made, fun game. And what I really think they lack to do is just because NHL, like for example NHL 19, people know it's not a good game.
100%.
And that's why we don't get any sort of new players to the communities, because people aren't going to buy. People who aren't dedicated to the sport itself, like people like us, will not buy this game.
Oh yeah.
I'm not dedicated to NBA in any sort of way. I don't watch a single game each year, but yet I will buy that game and play it. I don't have the biggest knowledge on basketball. I know it obviously because I played it as a kid, but I'm drawn to it naturally because as a sports fan in general, I want to play a quality game. That's really what we all want to do, is we all want to play a quality game. So I think, while it's not their highest making game, you can't sit here and tell me that they can't at least
put a little more bells and whistles into it.
Improve. Exactly. They're really, if you really think about it, with all these like lobby drops and stuff, they're really making us pay $60 and making people pay $60 for an incomplete game. Which I guarantee you, none of these other franchises like 2K and stuff would ever do that.
Well, and that's like I said, that's like I pointed out earlier. 2 weeks, or what was it? I think it was 2 months into NHL 19. None of the leagues could start because we didn't have private matchmaking. So as soon as NBA 2K19 dropped, they had private matchmaking for the simple fact that they had the 2K league. If EA really wanted to do anything, I know LG is the biggest league out there, and I know that there are so many other leagues striving to become that big. Put what the leagues and the people that promote your game in. Make a complete game, make it worth something, make it to where we enjoy it. Because obviously we can't just. I can't enjoy an incomplete game. I can't. I'm sorry. Not
100%. Well,
go ahead.
Sorry,
well,
go ahead.
No, I enjoy playing NHL 19. Granted, yes, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like the worst at it, but I wouldn't say I'm the greatest. But you've got. I could probably go through my Facebook and find a million different 2K or FIFA pages, and I'm on basically every one of the NHL pages, and it's, I think, like 10, you know? And yes, I get, like, you know, you got your West Coast and your East Coast guys. I get that. But at the same time, you got to know, you know, where to market, you know? And I think that that's something that, Jordan, with you being social media right now up on the screen, the guys are seeing all of our social media pages. I think that with social media, we can reach out to a lot of people playing in the NHL community.
100%. And then if we get enough of a community from there, if we grow this league enough, like this league in particular, we could do what no other league's done, and I truly believe what no other league's done. I mean, LG obviously has done it a decent amount because it's just based off their size alone and name alone, they can. But we could really reach out beyond the community itself and really try to make an impact. If you know, if the game itself isn't going to do it, we could do it. And you know, it's not it might not make a huge impact, but anything you can do, any sort of little thing you can do can definitely help.
Oh God, yeah, 100%. You know, I mean, even if we aren't the highest, you know, or how do I say this? Even if NHL isn't the highest grossing game that EA makes, I get that. But you've got to do something, you know, otherwise, one, all of these leagues that, you know, EA prides themselves on, that, you know, oh, you can play with your friends, and there's so much more competitiveness this year than there was last year. Show us numbers, you know, because like Pucker, like you said, you know, there's so many more people playing and watching Fortnite than there are people playing and watching the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. You know,
Yeah.
like, if the Stanley Cup Finals isn't, you know, I get, you know, you got the All-Star game, and that's where they do a lot of their, how do I say it, a lot of their marketing for NHL 19. I noticed this year was, you know, PK Subban was a big addition to, you know, being on the cover this year, which, okay, I get that. But what are you doing outside of the All-Star game? During any NHL regular season game, there should be at least one, if not two, commercials for NHL 19. Because the only way I ever see any commercials is the day that the NHL releases it and the day that NHL 20 releases their official, like, page for social media. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't...
Yeah, it's just a very poor effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, take a look at GameStop, for example. GameStop's where I get my games every time, and you know, GameStop has a midnight release for every single game that comes out, but not NHL.
Right.
It's like, are you shitting
It's like,
me?
really?
Yeah. Well, you know, and I really think it comes down to it. If EA is so worried about money, and I mean, if we all agree, really, I mean, EA is one of the most
100%.
money-driven companies out there. You know what I mean? I mean, EA really is one of the most money-driven companies out there, and it's just something we have to live with. But if they're really so worried about making money off of their games, a simple fix, quick fix, and I guarantee you will move this game up in their money making. Put in the microtransactions of each player,
yeah.
like 2K does. That will immediately change the whole entire just aspect of this game and of how much money this game gets EA. Because, I mean, if you look at it, the future in gaming is microtransactions,
100%.
and eventually you're gonna see each one of these games move towards as much microtransactions for their individual player as they can.
Yeah, and that's where HUT comes in. HUT is the EA Sports big money maker for NHL. They make more money on HUT than they do actually selling the game itself. They could probably make more money if NHL was free and get more people playing their game and get more people playing HUT. They could probably make more money than if that just charging everybody $60 for the roster update every year.
Pucker, I don't know. How long have you been playing NHL?
So I started picking up, I played back in '94 when it was like NHL '94. I played Mutant League hockey back in those days as well, but I didn't get serious into hockey until about 2009, and that's when I started really, learning everything that I've learned up to now on how to play this game.
Okay, so you played probably during the peak period of EA. Do
Yeah.
you? I don't know if you remember. I know Jordan, you might remember because I know I do. The NHL. It was like NHL 2012, 13, and 14, right on PS3. When basically you built your guy, and the more games you played, the better your guy got. You could buy you could do the microtransactions for like a boosted stick or a boosted skates. You got like +2 to your skating ability. Like, what I want to know whatever happened to that, because truthfully,
Well,
go ahead.
well, you got to look at the fact of, like, for example, I've last played I played NHL 14. It was my first game I played, and many believe that was the last true, like, great NHL game that came out. Many will argue that NHL 14, past NHL 14, the NHL games became crap. I don't know what your guys' opinion is on that, but I know a lot of guys that will argue that NHL 14 was the last true game before it started going downhill.
Oh, I can agree.
And
with
you
that.
look at a lot of the features. You look at a lot of the features that game brought, and people loved that game. A lot of the guys in the community loved that game. And you look at a lot of the features that game brought to the table. You just watch each year. The game itself just goes downhill. They start removing features that everybody loved, and you really just look at it and you're like, are you trying to, like, purposely destroy the game itself? Like, there's really no thought process behind it as to why they would take that away, because it's like we seem to go in this, like, effect each year of, like, they slowly build up to a great game and then they just destroy it, and then they slowly build up to a great game and then destroy it, and you start to sit here and wonder. You're like, they're just putting that, they're just taking us in circles. They're really not making, when they put out a what we call a good game. Like, yes, NHL 19 was an improvement from NHL 18, but if you really think about it, NHL 19 wouldn't compete with NHL.
Oh, no, 100% no.
And
Go ahead.
yeah, and you sit here and wonder, and you just start to be like, when are they gonna build off of a great game and just keep building from there, and stop playing with us and stop just, really just, they're really just doing nothing about it, and it just amazes me.
Yeah, I truthfully I agree with everything that you just said. I mean, unless they make huge improvements, not only to this game but the features in this game, I don't see this series going any much farther before 2K steps in and says, all right, look, we're going to show you how to make a hockey game. Because if 2K steps in, I think EA will... I don't think that their NHL will ever be as good as 2K's. I mean, granted, 2K is so much more animation based, because, obviously if you play 2K19, you have to, you gotta buy your animations for your jump shot, your dunks, and this and that. But what says that, you couldn't do that for for an NHL series? What says that,
Yeah.
you're going to have those guys that are going to spend, money on the big hits animation versus the guys that are going to spend the money on your deking and your skating animations and all of that. And goalies are huge with it. I mean, there's so much more of a, how do I say it? There's so much more that they could do that they just don't. And I mean, obviously there's nothing that 3 guys on a podcast can change, but at the same time, if enough people hear and enough people complain about it, then we're going to get one of two things. We're going to get all right, no, we don't care, or, okay, we're tired of hearing about this, we're going to fix it.
Yeah, I think 100% that everything we're talking about here reverberates through the entire community. The frustration is building. We're not at the boiling point that people are stopping, are not buying the game anymore, because clearly they continue to sell copy after copy. But I think this is a frustration that's starting to catch some traction, and you're hearing about it more and more. I can't tell you how many parties I go into, and you bring this topic up, and next thing you know, you got six guys all agreeing that this is absolutely ridiculous, da 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 da. And so I think we're reverberating what's going on in the community. And if I'm wrong, message us on the comment section, and let us know if you feel differently. If you love what EA Sports puts out every year, message us in the comments and let us know that we're wrong.
Right, yeah. So going
But
going forward from the whole EA's issues that we all have, uh, Fapper, you obviously led Montreal to a Stanley Cup. Pucker, if you want to go ahead and make an announcement, I know that we're going to have some sort of formal video made of it soon, but I feel as if it might be best to announce it live.
yeah, so I want to congratulate Midnight Fapper. He has been voted the league's playoff MVP. Congratulations. You've done a fantastic job of leading your team to the playoffs and getting them into the playoff hunt. Then you did a fantastic job of not only coaching them and owning them, but you were kind of that backstop that prevented the other team from being able to score, and led your team to 9. I think your record was what, 9 wins, 1 loss, 3 shutouts, a 92 save percentage, a 1.1 goal against average. Absolutely phenomenal job. Almost voted in unanimously as the playoff MVP. And congratulations. What do you have to say to the community?
Yeah, man. I just, as the owner of the of Montreal, I have a right there to do everything I can to help my team win, but by putting out the best lineup each night that I feel like will compete. But at the same time, also having the chance, which I love, also having the chance as an owner to play, um, you can also help your team in that aspect. And given the fact that I play goalie, which is can make, in many games, can make or break a game. Um, I love being able to go out there and pick up my team when they're not having the greatest game, or just give my team the best chance to win the games. And that's really all I focused on throughout these playoffs. Is I took it one game at a time, and I just went out there and I just played, and I just gave my team the best chance to win. And I wasn't really chasing the stats. I wasn't really looking for this or that. I was just putting out the best effort that I could each night, and it resulted to this. And hey man, I couldn't be more more thankful for being voted in as a playoff MVP. And I just think it really reflects goaltending. Not only does it reflect the individual himself, but it really reflects the team defense also, because without my defense that I had in front of me, man, I couldn't have done what I did.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you, as we've talked before in a previous podcast, you kind of you took over a team, and I want you to kind of give the guys that aren't, I guess, that aren't, you know, too experienced being owners, kind of give them some advice, on kind of what to do, and what obviously what led you to becoming as good of a player in the Stanley Cup MVP as you are.
As a like a owner aspect, or as a player, like goalie wise.
Both really.
Okay, well, owner wise, it really just comes down to just I mean, it really comes down to just putting together the best group of guys that you think will go out there and give you their all every night. I mean, we, I mean, I think it was evident that, and I think you guys would agree with this too. As the playoffs went on, man, my team got stronger and stronger. I mean, we were a good. Don't get me wrong, we were a good team going into that first week playing Toronto because we took them in 4, and we truly felt like we were going to. But as we kept moving forward, we really didn't let off the gas, and we continued to grow as we started facing the tough competition. Because in my opinion, heck, if that Detroit series a couple bounces go the other way, Detroit could have taken that series, and I really think Detroit would have put up just as good of a fight against St. Louis as we would have, and we really felt like Detroit was really gonna show us what our team was made of, and my guys didn't back down from a single game, a single player. They weren't afraid, and it really just comes down to from the owner aspect. It's just put together a group of guys not only that can have some skill, but I really think another important part that not a lot of guys always look for because they're always so mesmerized by the skill is what their attitude is going towards the game and how willing they are to just make adjustments and play the style of hockey your team wants to play.
Yeah, I think you brought up a great point there. It can't all be about skill. There's so many guys in this game that are very, very skilled at the game, but they're fucking Madonnas, and they won't get past themselves or their stats or whatever to do what's best for their teams, you know. And there's a lot of really skilled guys out there that are, you know, the team players, but overall, if you've got a guy that's super skilled, a lot of times they create more trauma in your locker room than they're worth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you hit it on the head. You want guys that, you know, don't have their heads up their butts and they know how to, you know, hit the R2 button, but you also want a group of guys that are going to have fun playing together, that are going to, you know, look and see what their teammates are doing, and they're going to do what they can to help their teammates win. It's not I mean, it's not all about me. It's all about the team. You know what I mean? And that's what you need. And that's clearly what you were able to do. And as a result, you know, your team was able to win it all. And you know, I think you're being modest with the Detroit series. I called Detroit in 6, I think it was. But the more I watched your team, the more impressed I got with it. And Detroit was outclassed. No offense to Detroit players. Detroit was outclassed by your team. Your team was the better team. Your team deserved to win it, and they did win it. St. Louis, that was a tough competition, and you guys did a hell of a job winning that whole thing. So congratulations. You guys deserve every bit of praise.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We really put our all into that, and we really, it was something special to play with for sure. I mean, it's in the end, it is just a game, a video game, as in that sense. But really, we're all here for a reason. We all play this game. We want to play it competitively. We want to have some fun with it, and we want to get something out of it. And we did, and it felt great, man. I mean, it was an honor to be a part of for sure.
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously we covered all of it. And from my perspective, man, watching Game 6, going into that final minute, you've got a shutout going. You know, everybody knows that in the last 10 seconds are when EA goals happen. EA goals happen. I know my chest was beating, and it felt like my heart was coming out of my chest. I can only imagine if you can give us some insight on kind of what your thoughts and feelings were going through that probably that last minute and a half of Game 6.
Well, I mean, so crazy thing is we closed out the Detroit series. I actually had a shutout in that game as well. Well, I think we won like 4-0 to close out that. Obviously, 4-0 win's not really much of a sweaty type of deal, and you're not really freaking out in a 4-0 game compared to a 1-0 game. But in that game, it was sweaty all the way throughout because I mean it was 0-0. It was 0-0 with 10 minutes left in the third, and you were starting to get. I'm sure you guys watching that game, you were starting to get a feel of the first team to strike was going to win the game.
Oh,
You know what I mean? The first team
100%.
to put the puck in the back of the net was going to win that game. And when we got that one goal to drop, I mean, we knew we were kind of like, oh, you know, we kind of knew we were like, okay, like we're now at the point where it's 10 minutes left in this game. St. Louis is going to give us everything because it's win or go home for them. And White Knucklers, you know, obviously is no slouch of a hockey player, and that guy single-handedly can do a lot of what even some full teams can't do. And
Well, go ahead. I'll let you
but
finish.
go ahead, man. 100%.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you know, if you look at St. Louis's line in Game 6, White Knucklers is really the only staple that they had left. They had the defense there that was good, but like, but even with the four guys that he was with, he was able to. That game was still competitive, you know. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when RV Clutch said he wasn't playing, I was like, oh, this game's over. And then it was a damn game. Like, y'all were going into the third period. It was tooth or nail, and it was battles back and forth. It was like neutral zone trap style. It was like some seriously high level hockey from guys that we haven't seen, you know, be able to do that. And that's one
Yeah.
thing that you have to, you know, you guys were able to win against a really tough team, you know.
Well, you know, I think I noticed the style that White Knuckles plays is the puck is definitely ran through him 100%. And I definitely can tell like the style that he plays, he's gonna get you open. Just him alone, he's gonna make guys chase you. It's just natural. You're gonna want to chase him. You're gonna want to, you know, hit him because he's just moving around with the puck so much. And when you get open, he's gonna find you. So I really think it does help having a guy like RV Clutch on a wing with him because it's just another skill guy to have. But I definitely think just naturally, whoever you put with them is gonna play better because they're just gonna be open. And you know, I really think I really would like. I mean, I really would think that I really thought St. Louis really messed up when they played their nasty Uncle Dad and Joss the Boss early and lost their eligibility for games 5 and 6. I really think that you know, having those guys play 3 of the first 4 games really handcuffed them defensively, and that really led to like us having those like that 8-1 victory, that you know, 10-4 victory. Like it, I don't think we would have had those victories if they would have you know kind of balanced the games out a little bit better.
Yeah, and my take on that is that they were hurting so bad at center, and this shows you why. If you're going to get an extra forward, you get an extra center. You don't get an extra wing and short yourself on centers, because when you have a non-center playing center, it messes up the whole flow of the game. Now, if you have a defensive-minded forward playing center, then you're good. It can be okay. But when you throw an offensive-minded winger at center and expect good things to happen, it doesn't. It's just brutal. Like, there's just breakdown after breakdown after breakdown, and it becomes a train reaction. And I felt like I didn't want to put it on too much on the defense. I didn't want to put it too much on the goalie. You know, that 8-1 game, that goalie hadn't played a game in the playoffs at that point. But I think it's a chain reaction, and I think that everybody played their part. But I don't want to put it too much on the defense, being a defensive player. You know, I blame it on the center. It's always the center's fault.
Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, the center plays a huge part to it. He really does in the defensive aspect. Of the game.
I completely agree. You know, if you got a center that can play defense, not a center that chases, but you know, somebody that is right there where you need him to be at all times. I think that that plays a big role in it. So any last kind of words for the guys watching here, going into season 2? Or you know, just kind of what to look forward to, guys.
And I can go first. Really, it just comes down to it, man. Just keep fighting for the team you want. Keep trying to find those players. Keep fighting for them. Keep building that team, and the season isn't over till it's over. As we showed just last season, literally, it's not. The season is not over, man, until it is over, because there's always a chance you can turn the ship, turn the ship around and get that thing going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think season 2 is going to have a lot of fun. We've got the application out there, and be sure to, if you're interested in playing, sign up for playing. If you're interested in helping the league out in any way, shape, or form, we have applications for everything you can think of, from the disciplinary side to media to everything you can think of. You don't not even have to necessarily have an official role. If you just want to help out in different ways, we're willing to take on all the help that we can get. We realize that we can't do this, what we're doing, without people like any of you listeners right now. And we're doing it for you guys. So keep watching us. Keep hitting that like button and subscribe. Tune in to next week and hear what's going on with the league. Fort, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you for doing everything you do. And let's get some hockey going here pretty soon. I think June, first week of June, is the beginning of the next season.
Yeah, I think Keith said June 6th. As you guys see on the screen right now, is the World E Season 2 summer registration. You can find it at worldehockeyleague.com. Everything is right here on the screen that you guys do. You guys just fill out this little job form, and it'll send you an email to what's going on. All of our social media links are as followed. Obviously, you guys are watching here on the WEHL Sportscast on YouTube. Follow us on both Twitter and Instagram at WEHL Official. And check us out on Facebook at World E Hockey League. There are many of groups, many of sites, everything. So until next time, thank you, Pucker. Thank you, Fapper, for coming on and enjoying some time. Don't forget that we do have our 150 subscriber giveaway coming up, so that'll be good to get that going. And next season we want to work. I'm gonna try to reach out to some different hockey based companies and get something going with that. Maybe see if they would sponsor a giveaway, or if they want to do something with us here in the media section. So until next time, you guys enjoy. And thank you for tuning in.